Well, welcome back to Reflections and Real Talk. I'm Judy, and today I'm diving into part 2 of my series on target date funds. In the first video, I covered how these funds work and how to choose the right one. If you missed it, be sure to check that out. I'll put a link in the description below and above as well. Today, we're taking it a step further by exploring something called glide paths and why it's important to revisit your strategy once you've retired. So let's get started. What is a glide path? A glide path is the gradual adjustment in a target date fund's asset allocation over time. When you're younger and farther from retirement, these funds typically hold a higher percentage of stocks to focus on growth. And as you near retirement, the fund shifts to a more conservative mix of bonds and cash to prioritize stability and income. This built-in adjustment is one of the key benefits of target date funds, but it's also important to understand how it works and how it can impact your retirement strategy. Why glide paths matter. The glide path of a target date fund determines how quickly the allocation shifts from stocks to bonds and how conservative the fund becomes as you approach and enter retirement. But not all glide paths are the same, and the differences can significantly impact your portfolio. Here are a few things to consider. First, the to versus through glide paths. Some funds, like Vanguard's target retirement funds, follow a to glide path. They stop adjusting their allocation once you reach the target date. Others, like Fidelity Freedom funds, follow a through glide path, continuing to shift from a more conservative investments for several years after the retirement date. Second, risk tolerance. If you're comfortable taking on more risk in retirement, you might prefer a fund with a slower glide path that maintains higher stock exposure. On the other hand, if you prioritize stability, a faster glide path might be a better fit. Understanding these nuances can help you decide whether your target date fund aligns with your long-term goals. So now let's look at how a glide path works together. So here we have the Vanguard target date glide path overview. And as we review the infographic below, we can see the asset allocation shifts at key points at age 20, the early career, phase 1, at age 40, the transition phase, at age 60, with the introduction of short-term tips or Treasury inflation protected securities, at age 65, which is the target date, and leveling off at 72 or the withdrawal phase. Now, all of the Vanguard funds offer a mix of both US and international stocks, as well as US and international nominal bonds, and a small percentage of short-term tips. Now, breaking it down by age, at age 20, we can see an asset allocation of 90% stocks and 10% bonds, reflecting a long time horizon and the ability to take on more risk. At age 40, although the allocation starts at 90-10, the shift begins to become more conservative, starting to add in more bonds, as we can see from the glide path above. And you can see it tapering down here with fewer stocks and more bonds. By age 60, the allocation becomes much more conservative with a 60-40 split to reduce volatility. And by age 65, Vanguard recommends the shift to Vanguard Target Retirement Income Growth and Trust with a 50-50 split and introducing 8% in short-term tips. Finally, by age 72, which is the withdrawal phase, the glide path reaches its final asset allocation, 30% stocks and 70% bonds, with 16.8% in tips, transitioning to the target retirement income strategy. Now, you can research individual glide paths by looking at the fund's prospectus, but keep in mind this is an overall strategy, and the actual glide path is going to vary over time based on market conditions. So here we're looking at the Fidelity Freedom Index 2035 fund. And as I scroll down here, I'm going to see a similar infographic represented here in black and gray. The black represents US equity. The dark gray is international equity. The slightly lighter gray is the bonds. And then the little sliver here is short-term funds. And as you can see here, they do have a qualifier that the advisor may change these percentages over time, and the allocation percentages may not add up to 100% due to rounding. Why you should reevaluate in retirement. Here's the thing, target date funds are great for the accumulation phase when you're building your nest egg, but once you enter retirement, your financial needs change. This is why many experts recommend rolling over your target date fund into separate stock and bond funds. Why? Well, let me explain. 1. Facilitating withdrawals. When you retire, you'll likely need to make regular withdrawals to cover living expenses. By separating your investments into stock and bond funds, you can strategically withdraw from one or the other based on market conditions. For example, if the stock market is down, you can avoid selling stocks at a loss and instead withdraw from your bond funds. Number 2, accommodating market fluctuations. Retirement portfolios need to weather the market volatility. Keeping your investments in separate funds allows you to maintain flexibility and rebalance your portfolio as needed without being locked into the predetermined allocation of a target date fund. 3. Customizing your allocation. Everyone's retirement journey is unique. Rolling over your target date fund gives you the freedom to adjust your stock and bond allocations to better suit your individual risk tolerance and income needs. So, how do you go about transitioning out of a target date fund? Here's a simple checklist to help guide you. Number 1, evaluate your needs. Consider your current income, expenses, and financial goals. How much do you need to withdraw annually? What's your risk tolerance? Number 2, roll over to an IRA. Many retirees choose to roll their 401k or target date funds into an individual retirement account or IRA for more flexibility and control. Number 3, divide into stock and bond funds. Work with a financial advisor or do your own research to select low-cost stock and bond funds that align with your goals. Number 4, set up a withdrawal strategy. Decide on a sustainable withdrawal rate, such as the 4% rule, and determine which funds to draw from based on market conditions. Number 5, monitor and rebalance. Regularly review your portfolio and make adjustments as needed to stay on track with your financial plan. Target date funds can be a fantastic tool for building your retirement savings, but they're not a one-size-fits-all solution, especially once you're retired. Understanding glide paths and knowing when to transition to separate stock and bond funds can help you make the most of your investments and enjoy a more secure retirement. So here we're looking again at the Fidelity website, but we're looking at the Vanguard Target Retirement 2035 Fund. And let's just look at what other information we can glean off the website. We can look at the overall Morningstar star rating, which is 4 out of 5 for this particular fund. The returns, which are on the high side, above average. Expenses are very low. And the risk of this category, 6 out of 10. And then we can look at the performance over 1 year, 14.4%, 3 years, 5.17%, 5 years, 7.79%, and 10 years, 7.88%. Now, we've already done the side-by-side comparison, so I'm going to scroll down and focus your attention here on this quadrant. This is the asset allocation right now for this target date 2035 fund. We've got both domestic and foreign stock, domestic bonds and foreign bonds, cash and others. And this is really important to note. These are the allocations right now. So this is where you'd want to line this up with your risk tolerance, as well as your desire to invest in domestic versus foreign stocks and bonds. On the positive side, target date funds make it very easy for one size fits all, one-stop shopping. On the downside, you can't cherry pick the categories or the individual funds. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with somebody planning for retirement. And let me know in the comments, have you considered transitioning out of a target date fund in retirement? What's your strategy? Till next time, take care and keep planning for the future.